For my persuasive speech topic, I chose guaranteed income. This is a kind of tricky topic because I'm not especially knowledgeable about economics. So to make up for that, I made sure to read a lot of articles that explain the issue in easily understandable terms, and to then follow links to some of the studies that they cited and look through those as well. It's also tricky because to a lot of people it is not necessarily intuitive that this is the best approach to ending poverty. I know that I was pretty skeptical about it at first because because I get a lot of satisfaction from hard work, but it's something that I really need an external motivator for. So I was worried that a lot of people would quit working and about the effects that that would have, not just on the economy, but on their well-being. However, the evidence consistently shows that the benefits of guaranteed income outweigh any negative side effects. So I now believe that guaranteed income is not just beneficial, but necessary. One natural concern people have is how would we pay for it? Guaranteed income for every adult in the United States would definitely be expensive. However, one of the reasons that we can afford it, or that we need it, is also a reason that we can afford it. Income and wealth inequality in this country are staggering. Over 10% of income earners in the US live below the poverty threshold, while the income of the top 20% makes up about half of the market share. And then wealth inequality, which is the measure of the difference between in assets held, is an even bigger gap. 10% of families control over 3/4 of the wealth in our country, and 50% control just 1% of the wealth. Now, with that in mind, it's estimated that another 1% of wealth, so the same amount controlled by half of the country, is controlled by just 3 individuals. It means 3 people in our country control as much wealth as another 150 million people. But it's not just individual wealth, there is corporate wealth as well. Every company on the Fortune 500 has a revenue of over $5 billion, and their combined total revenue is $14.2 trillion. If we eliminate corporate subsidies, instate a wealth tax, and raise the marginal tax rate as well as corporate taxes, those things are going to go a long way in paying for guaranteed income. Now, going back to my original concern that large numbers of people would stop working, the evidence just doesn't really bear this out. What the evidence does show is that people's mental and overall health improve while crime and addiction rates decrease. There have been some experiments in which work output did decrease, but it hasn't been enough to severely affect the economy. There have been other studies in which work output stays the same and even increases. Economists speculate that people are more willing to work with a guaranteed income because it isn't need-based assistance, and they're not caught in the poverty traps that are set up when assistance is conditional. However, the longest study with guaranteed income, a significant guaranteed income, I should say, has been about 5 years. So we don't have sufficient data to accurately predict the long-term effects, and it's possible that there would be a negative effect on the economy. However, I believe that the effects would be positive. One of the reasons for this is obvious, it's increased spending. A less obvious reason is I believe that there would be an increase in competition. For one thing, it's not just workers who should be competing for jobs. The workforce should also be competing to attract employees. They wouldn't have to do this with higher wages either. If we had a guaranteed income, we have an extra cushion there and might be willing to accept lower paying jobs that offer a higher quality of life in other ways, such as more flexibility or greater control, creative control over our work output. I also think that in the long run, competition in the workforce would increase. If children's basic needs are being met and they have caregivers who are able to spend more time with them and whose mental health is improved, that's going to remove a lot of the barriers that are facing our most vulnerable children. This strong foundation is going to allow them to do their best academic work throughout their schooling, and there will be fewer financial barriers as well to pursuing a higher education. These factors are going to lead to a larger workforce of highly qualified individuals living up to their highest potential. If we really want competition in the workplace, we need to make sure that all children have an equal opportunity to succeed. A guaranteed income is a necessary step to this end. Obviously, 6 minutes isn't enough time to fully explain an issue this complex. I highly recommend looking into it more if you're interested. Vox has some great articles, of course. I really wish I had more time to go into depth on things like poverty traps and discuss issues like how the poverty threshold is kept artificially low and how women's issues and systemic racism tie into these economic issues. That being said, I really hope that I have piqued your curiosity and that I've provided some insight into why I believe that guaranteed income is not just economically sound, but a moral imperative.